When to say no. Knowing that no is powerful, and then going back and knowing when to use it are sometimes two very different things. Now that you've seen the truth about no, it's time to put it into practice. This seems easier said than done. You can't really say no until you understand where it's most advantageous to do so. Let's face it, you can't just say no to everything. If you do that, you will actually stunt your ability to grow and change. Besides, some things you will actually want to do, and others you'll need to do because of the commitments in your life, to your job, your family, or your friends. This means choosing carefully just where you want to say no so that you're using it to your best advantage. Below is a quick list of when to say no, to use as a reference. While this doesn't represent every situation, it does give you a guide that will hopefully prove useful as you set about changing your life into one of power and control. While some of these items might seem self-explanatory, let's discuss them each in more detail. Hopefully, this will clear up any lingering confusion about just when to say no. When it isn't your responsibility. It's all too easy to fall into the trap of riding to the rescue, especially when you're hoping to prove yourself somehow in the company you work for or in the relationship. The problem is, not everything that you're saying yes to is your responsibility in the first place. And nor should you have been the one to jump in now and get involved. When asked to do something, the first thing you have to do is ask yourself whether you're the right person for the job. It might be someone else has a better skill set to do this, or more likely, it was their job to do it in the first place. When you are already too busy. It's said that the quickest way to get something done is to ask someone who is already busy. While this holds a certain grain of truth, the fact is, you're already swamped with things to do, and chances are you really don't need anything else on your plate right now. The way to figure out if you're too busy? Take a hard look at your schedule. Do you really have room for one more thing? This is going to involve some brutal honesty. Ask yourself just how long it's going to take to do the things that are already on your schedule. We tend to not allow ourselves enough time to do things, so it might be you're already overworked and don't even know it. When it's a negative drain on your resources. Too often, we forget that we really do only have 24 hours in a day, and that several of those need to be spent sleeping. Do an evaluation of your resources right now. How many hours a day do you have to dedicate to work? What about to family or friends? When you're being asked to take on something new, what it's very easy to forget is that in order to do something for one person, you're going to have to take away resources from somewhere else. Can you afford it? If you find that you're considering giving up an hour of sleep, or might be skipping a meal to do something, you're in the danger zone. Taking away from the basic resources you need in order to be healthy and happy is never a good idea. Neither is giving up time in a day to do something that's going to leave you exhausted or out of sorts. Anytime you say yes to something that leaves a negative impact on your life, it's a bad idea. When it isn't important to you. What someone else thinks as absolutely crucial might not be all that important to you. So, getting involved in someone's political campaign when you're not invested in that candidate is never going to go well. For one thing, if you're trying to do something that you're not emotionally invested in, it's nearly impossible to put forth your best effort. What's more, by taking on the job, you might be taking it away from someone else who might be passionate about the cause. The solution? Say no whenever you're being asked to jump into something you don't really care about. When you feel like you're being taken advantage of. The problem with having said yes so many times in the past, now everyone expects yes when they come to you with their proposal. Unfortunately, this tends to encourage a certain kind of person to take advantage of the situation, which they do as often as possible. How can you tell if someone is taking advantage of you? Go by your gut feelings in the situation. If someone is asking something of you and you immediately feel repulsed, upset, or resentful of the offer, then the chances are that person is taking advantage of you. This is where you need to learn how to trust your instincts. Anytime you feel uncomfortable by a request, say no. This is your cue to get out of the situation now before it's too late. When it's something that makes you uncomfortable. This dovetails in with the last one, but with a slight difference. Not every situation that makes you uncomfortable involves someone taking advantage of you. Some requests are just creepy. Again, trust your instincts. If something feels off, then it usually is. Just like the last one, say no and run. When it's something that goes against your core values. You've been passionate about the environment for a long time, but now someone comes to you and wants you to be part of a political campaign for a candidate that has proven time and again that they just don't care about the environment at all. In a situation like this, it's easy to see where what you're being asked goes against what you believe in. But not everything is quite so cut and dried. First, before you can determine if a request from someone else is in fact a compromise of what you believe, then you first need to know what you believe. Define your values and then stick to them. If you're not sure that something you're being asked to do means a moral compromise, then ask for more information, or take time to answer until you can research that question for yourself. If it turns out to be something on the wrong side of the fence from where you are, then it's definitely time to say no. When it hurts someone you care about. This one should go without saying. Anytime you're asked to do something that in any way hurts someone you love, it's time to say no. Nothing is worth the betrayal and hurt that a friend or loved one will experience when they find out your involvement in that project, and they will find out. When to say no doesn't have to be complicated. Just remember not to overthink things, as most of this is just about having clear boundaries, and then making sure that no one crosses those boundaries without your permission. Where do we go from here? With a pretty clear idea in your head about when and where you want to use the power of no, it's time to learn exactly how to do it.